Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the summary for the day of 456 for the 25th of May for the Ukraine war or the special military operation in Ukraine. And let's start off with the biggest news. In Belarus, Russia has signed an agreement with the Belarus to deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Basically, they call it the non-strategic nuclear weapons, but basically this is another name for tactical nuclear weapons. And according to the United 24 media, they emphasize that these weapons will be controlled by Russia and not by Belarus. So the control and management of the nuclear weapons as well as the use is still on the Russian side. So essentially, we are looking at Russia protecting Belarus. Belarus effectively become the protectorate of Russia, similar to how South Korea is actually under the protectorate of United States, where United States deploy forces and have a lot of freedom in terms of how they're going to operate within South Korea. Similarly, this is what is going to happen in Belarus as well. And this is probably not news, basically, except for the deployment of tactical nuclear weapons. So moving on to, in the Black Sea, yesterday I've reported that Ivan Kor, the surveillance ship, not civilian, surveillance ship, has been attacked by naval drones. According to the Russian Defense Ministry's information, is that they actually destroyed all the 3 drones. However, there is a footage that came out on social media showing that one of the drones actually managed to dodge all the gunfire and actually go to the side of the ship, towards the rear of the ship. However, the footage ends the moment he reached the drone reached the ship, and because that's how the suicide drone works, it's unknown if it actually exploded. The ship, according to the information from Ryba, says that the ship is still operating, still floating, and doing its operations. So it's unclear whether the drone actually misfired and it did not explode, or it exploded but it actually did not cause enough damage to the ship. So tentatively, it's still unclear what's the situation with the Ivan Kor, but we shall continue to monitor. I'm quite sure the pro-Ukrainian side will be very eager to report if this ship is destroyed. And of course, another one thing to note from the pro-Russian source is that Ryba mentioned that had this attack has been successful, they reckon that the Russian Defense Ministry would not have reported this so quickly. And I think that actually make a lot of sense, because had the attack been successful and the ship is badly damaged, based on past precedents, the Russian Defense Ministry will actually make up stories and everything will be a bit delayed. They will not publish this information so quickly. So probably not much damage has been done, probably, but I'm not sure. Moving into the front lines, there's nothing happening over at the Kherson front. And moving into the Zaporizhia line, at the Zaporizhia line we have reports of shelling at Nastyryanka as well as at Malatomashka. Malatomashka has been shelled consistently for weeks now, and so there must be some serious Ukrainian force that has been gathered in this position to warrant so much shelling at this exact location. There's also shelling being reported at Novosylka, just on the western part of Velika Novosylka. So other than that, that's all from the Zaporizhia line. So the Zaporizhia line is this line of defense here. Moving into the Donetsk front, at the Donetsk front, we have Ukrainian recon forces being engaged by the Russian forces over at Volodymyrivka, with the Ukrainians trying to probe for maybe where is the Russian defenses. And there is also shelling reported at Novomikhailivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Over at Marinka, as usual, the Russians are attacking on the western part of Marinka. We still don't have much information, as this is continued to be just reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And that's all from the Donetsk front. And moving into the Avdiivka front, at the Avdiivka front, we have shelling being reported. Not shelling, but actually some kind of a strike. It could be by missile or it could be by airstrike. It's unknown. However, Russia have blown up the Vovcha River Dam This dam is actually connected, is actually at the Karlovsky reservoir, and basically the Russians have destroyed the dam, and according to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they analyzed that it's unlikely to be done by the Ukrainians, because Ukrainians do blow up dams quite a lot over the past year of war. However, they reckon this is not, because this actually affects Ukrainian transportation and resupply and communication route. As what happened is that because of this blow here, there is now flood waters going in this direction, and this actually affects all the roads that is currently needed by the Ukrainians. So the road here is now affected, and of course the transportation in the south, the road or small roads are also probably affected due to the flooding, and so this actually affects communications by the Ukrainians. Communications means resupply, transport, this kind of communication, not the telephone communication. So this affects the ground, the land transportations all the way, communications all the way to Pervomaiske region and Notelove region, and which means that this road is now pretty difficult because the only road is across the dam. It's actually across the dam. So this dam is destroyed. They have to do a pontoon or something to sort it out. And if you look at the other roads, it looks really not so easy for resupply or communications. There is the main road around here, which actually links all the way down to Adievka. They can actually use this road to reach, but as you can see, it's not going to be easy. Is there any small roads? Yeah, there is some limited small roads over further up north of the reservoirs, which the Ukrainians can use to resupply. But given that they blow up this dam over here, it does seems like the Russians are going to do some massive offensive over at the Pervomaiske Nevelsky region, because there is some window of opportunity for the Russians to attack with limited reinforcement or difficulty in reinforcement by the Ukrainian side. So we might actually see something very big coming from the Russians, maybe, because if not, once this is repaired, then there's no point to this entire strike. So let's wait and see what's going to happen. And over at the northern part of Adievka, we have Russians attacking Adievka again. Exact angle of attack is unknown. And over at Novobakhmutivka, there is fighting reported continue on the western part of Novobakhmutivka, probably towards Novokalinove. And there is reinforcement reported. So first show you the source first. Information coming from Ukrainian Defense Ministry and Ryba. And there's reinforcement reported at Novokalinove and Kramik region. And this information is coming from Ryba. This reinforcement is to prepare for because the Russians has been pushing here quite a bit, so the Ukrainians are sending reinforcement to hold the line to make sure that they can continue to keep this position. As if you guys has been following me, I did a video talking about the importance of these positions. I'll probably renew this video very soon to talk about all these things before the crazy shit start to happen again. And that's all from the Adievka front. And moving into the New York front, we do not have any information about any fighting over here. And into the Bakhmut front, at the Bakhmut front, things has been rather quiet. There is still fighting reported at Ivanivsky, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The exact fighting is kind of unknown, but we do know that the Russian forces have managed to push in the western part of Kleshevka after the Ukrainians withdraw. This information comes from Surya Maps. This actually happens 3 days ago because Surya Maps was away, and he just posted this over the past 24 hours, and the information is that the Ukrainians actually withdrew from around these positions. They withdrew probably into the forest line, and this allows the Russians to actually take over the given up positions. And moving on, we do have a prisoner exchange between Wagner and the Ukrainian forces. The I think the if I'm not wrong, the number of people given back to the Ukrainians is over 100 people. They are all people that is I think fighting in Bakhmut over the past 100 days, and in return, the Ukrainians gave back POWs of the Akhmat Brigade, 9th Motorized Rifle Division, the 155 Brigade of Marines, and also some servicemen from the LPR, the Luhansk People's Republic. So it seems like the prisoners come from all over the place, and then for the Wagner side, the return POWs are mainly from Bakhmut, and this is reported pretty widely, and yeah, so far from the pro-Russian sources, they say that the Russian servicemen say that they were taken care well, they are not abused, so that's actually good to hear. And information also coming from the Wagner forces is that Prigozhin has announced that they has begun to transfer the positions to the Russian military, and as it's pretty on time because according to his previous announcement, by the 26th there will be no more Wagner forces within Bakhmut. So I think this is pretty on time, and by the 1st of June there will be no more Wagner forces on the front lines in the special military operations. So that's all from the Bakhmut front. I think did I miss anything? No. So moving on into the Sivas front. The Sivas front start to become one of the more place that I think we need to start to watch out more for. There is fighting reported on the eastern part of Ivaniski, Sperne, with the Russians capturing these positions. Information coming from Surya maps. It is a small position, small capture. It's basically just this part of the territory that the Russians managed to capture. And moving further up north, we have fighting reported at Bilohorivka, mainly on the eastern part, with the Russian forces managed to recapture this entire salient that the Ukrainians previously have. If I overlay the mapping, you probably can see that previously the Ukrainians actually have this salient here. Now this is now gone. The Russian forces have actually recaptured this area here, putting pressure on the Ukrainians within Bilohorivka. And that's all from the Sivas front. And moving into the Crimea front, there is a shelling being reported at Dibrova, also at Yampolivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And that's all from the Crimea front. And moving into the Svetove front, we have fighting reported at Novoselivsky, according to the Deep State UA. They say that the Russian forces is trying to improve their tactical position, and which means that there is some limited advance or offensive action that is trying to improve their tactical position. Yeah, I basically repeated what they said. And then the Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Stemakivka, Andrievka, and Ryhorivka. So these are the few places that was shelled by the Russian forces. And moving into the Kupiansk front, we have continued shelling being reported at Kotelivka, Timkovka, and at Masyutivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Ukrainians actually did some probing attack over at Ivanivka, and also at Sinkivka. Information is coming from the Russian Defense Ministry as well. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported the Russians were on the offensive over at Masyutivka or Masyutovka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. This is a continued Russian advance to try to capture maybe the forest line around this area here. And so far, we don't have a specific updates in terms of the progress in minute detail. We only know that there is fighting on the southern part of Masyutivka. And there is also DRG or recon forces or reconnaissance forces or operations at Novolimsk that was thwarted, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And I only indicated it as fighting because I do not know. I think I'm not too sure how do I put this. But yeah, just know that I report it as fighting, but it's actually recon forces getting thwarted, whatever that's supposed to mean. And that's all from the Kupian's front. And that is the summary for the day of 456 and the 25th of May. And I'll see you in the next update.